So I wanted to show people. I wanted to show you this because people keep talking about the corruption of the Trump administration, which they are. Trump said he was going to drain the swamp, and of course he came in and they drained the swamp, and boom, there was his cabinet was right at the bottom. So, but Huffington Post did an article about what the Barack Obama administration, some of the officials are doing now, and I just want to remind people what Barack Obama did when he got out of the White House. Before we get into that article, Obama goes from White House to Wall Street in less than a year. So this was from September 18th, 2017. September 18th, my brother Eddie's birthday. September 18th, 2017. That's when this was from. Obama goes from White House to Wall Street in less than a year. And everybody, what? No one was upset by that. In fact, we had comedians, like the guy who hosts The Daily Show now, defending corruption. That's how fucked up our culture is. That comedians now defend corruption and advocate against free speech, which is what comedians are doing now with Alex Jones.
The true point of satire is to defend the lesser of two evil with a punchline.
So last month, just before her book, What Happened, was published, Barack Obama spoke in New York to clients of Northern Trust Corporation for about $400,000, a person familiar with the appearance said. So Barack Obama leaves the White House, goes out windsurfing with Branson and riding in his balloon and going to Martha's Vineyard and going to Italy and all these places. And then when he decides to come back into public life, he comes back, and how does he do it? He comes back by giving speeches to fucking banks at $500,000 a clip. Why'd we get Trump? Huh? This is amazing, right? Last week, he reminisced about the White House for Carlyle Group, one of the world's biggest private equity firms. Next week, he'll give a keynote speech at investment bank Cantor Fitzgerald's healthcare conference. So that's what Barack Obama did. And that's what Chris Hedges means when he says they steal right out in the open now. They don't even care. They're so corrupt they do it right out in the open. That's Barack Obama doing it right out in the open. Legal corruption. Right out in the open. Right in your face. And now let's take a look. Former Obama officials are writing out the Trump years by cashing in. This is by Zach Carter and Paul Blumenthal. The revolving door takes a spin. So they list a bunch of quotes from people whose hair is on fire because Trump's so corrupt. So here's some of them. Our democracy is under attack, warned former Attorney General Eric Holder. Former Assistant Attorney General Lanny Breuer called the Trump administration's immigration agenda contrary to the core values of this nation. Conscientious public servants cannot stay silent, wrote former Department of Homeland Security Secretary Jad Johnson, who also said President Donald Trump's separation of migrant children from their asylum-seeking parents is immoral and un-American. That's former Department of Homeland Security Secretary Jad Johnson. Jazz a name? J-E-H? That's a name?
Yeah.
Okay. Former White House spokesman Jay Carney. We know Jay Carney. He worried about the country's credibility under Trump. Donald Trump is sort of to politics what Bernie Madoff was to investment, according to ex-agricultural secretary Tom Vilsack. His birth control policy, said Obama campaign manager David Plouffe, is unconscionable. Wow. And here's what the Huffington article said, which I love this. They go, and yet, for all the damage the Trump administration is doing to American democracy, several prominent Obama alums seem to have quietly made their peace with the subtler attack on the legitimacy of U.S. institutions. Huh? What do you mean? What are you talking about? Well, today many are lending the prestige of their White House resumes to scandal-fraught organizations in return for large sums of money. Some are even doing business with the Trump administration. Huh? These days, Johnson, remember Jed Johnson? Well, these days she receives $290,000 a year to serve on the board of directors at Lockheed Martin, the largest American defense contractor and, get this, the world's biggest weapons manufacturer. She went from Barack Obama's White House to the board of the world's biggest weapons manufacturer, and she gets paid $290,000 a year for it, and she has to go to about 8 meetings a year for that. So 8 meetings, that's almost like $50,000 per meeting she gets to go to.
Not bad.
Go from the White House to Lockheed Martin, they give you $50,000 a meeting. I mean, I'm not a math surgeon. Did I do the math right on that?
Yes.
So that company, Lockheed Martin, by the way, has been fined over $767 million for various forms of misconduct since forming in 1995, according to the Project on Government Oversight. So they've been misconducting up almost $1 billion worth of misconducting. So when you think about the Trump University and how they scam people, you think, like, oh, they're also scamming people, Lockheed Martin. All told, the company does $35 billion a year business with the federal government. Much of it, get this, contracted with the very department Johnson recently headed. Huh? What about the revolving door? The company's sales are rising along with Trump's defense budgets. Barnes, so that guy Barnes, is also working at a defense contractor, earning upwards of $210,000 a year, serving on the board of Booz Allen Hamilton, which held 8 meetings in 2017. How much is that? 8 meetings into 200. So it's like $30,000 a meeting.
Yeah, for 290, 8 meetings, that's like 36
okay,
meetings. So 210, that would be more like in the 30. Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not good with math.
Me neither.
But it's a lot of money.
I did it on a calculator.
Did you?
It's $26,250 per meeting.
Oh, yeah. 50 times 8 would be 40. So 5 times 8, that'd be 400,000, not 300,000. So my math was up. So thank you for everyone. Please always check my math. My math is often wrong. Incorrect. Barnes, who recently penned an op-ed for The Hill. So these are ex-Obama administration officials who recently penned an op-ed for The Hill calling to build an inclusive, multicultural democracy that provides opportunity, community, and security for all through community wealth building, has been working for the firm. What firm? Wait a minute. Oh, Booz Allen. Have been working for the firm since 2015. Last year, the company announced it was subject of a Department of Justice criminal investigation over irregularities in its government billing and accounting. Oh, so they're scammers too over there at Booz Allen, you think? According to the Center for Responsive Politics, in 2016 and 2017 alone, the company received $63 million in contracts to work with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the militarized deportation agency at the heart of the Trump administration's family separation scandal. So Booz Allen making money off Trump's immigration policy. Booz Allen Hamilton revenues are up almost 15% since Trump came to town. As Attorney General, Eric Holder refused to prosecute Wall Street crime related to the 2008 financial crisis, even as banks agreed to pay billions upon billions of dollars in settlement after settlement with the federal government. Still, not one criminal prosecution. Not one. Even in cases where major banking institutions pleaded guilty to felony charges, Holder and the Department of Justice declined to prosecute any actual bankers for crimes. Isn't that fucking corruption? So when Trump pardons Joe Arpaio, is that more corrupt than this shit? No, it's not. These people hurt a lot more people than Joe Arpaio did. So it makes a perverse kind of sense that Eric Holder is now a partner at the law firm of Covington & Burling, a DC-based outfit that specializes in work on behalf of the banking industry. So do you see that Eric Holder is a corrupt piece of it himself? He's as corrupt as they come, Eric Holder. He's Joe Arpaio. He is Trump. Eric Holder is. He is. He doesn't have integrity. Eric Holder's a money-grubbing Wall Street fucking cocksucker like the rest of them. And he's your enemy. In a remarkable interview with MSNBC's Chris Hayes in April, Eric Holder downplayed the significance of financial misconduct. No kidding.
You know what? I just
Can you
gotta,
imagine if Trump was doing that? Go ahead.
I just want to say financial misconduct.
Misconduct.
Come on. Why don't you just call it criminal stealing or whatever?
Yeah,
but
cheating
misconduct.
You mean criminal cheating and stealing from your own customers and committing fraud on the economy? You mean that financial misconduct? They make it sound like they crossed the street wrong while they were counting money. Oh, I'm sorry, jaywalked while I was counting. That's my financial misconduct. He downplayed the significance of financial misconduct, Eric Holder did, suggesting that law enforcement agencies have more important things to deal with. Imagine if Trump said that. People would be like, he's a treason! He's bought off! He's bought off! It's right in front of your face! It's right in front of your face! He's bought off! You're missing the biggest story of your life! It's right in front of your face! That's what they would be saying if it was Trump. But since it's Obama, this is what they say. What? Huh? Huh? Yeah, what are you going to do?
I like the law enforcement agencies have more important things to deal with. That's basically code for we throw poor people in jail.
Yeah,
There's poor people to throw in jail.
Yes.
Leave us alone. We're fine. More important things to do.
So here's another guy, Brewer, who was in charge of the Department of Justice Criminal Division during the Obama years. A guy, Brewer, is also partner at Covington and Burling. Isn't that nice? So the person who was in charge of the DOJ's Criminal Division during the Obama years is also partner at another Wall Street law firm defending Wall Street bankers. He currently spends his time helping clients navigate financial fraud investigations. Anti-corruption matters, money laundering investigations, securities enforcement actions, cybercrime incidents, congressional investigations, and other criminal and civil matters, presenting complex regulatory, political, and public relations risks. That's according to the firm's website. So he went right from as the head of the Department of Justice Criminal Division to defending criminals that he was supposed to be prosecuting before, which he didn't. If Trump was doing that, people would be going fucking crazy. And they should. But this is why you got Trump. Because Barack Obama's just as corrupt, and these motherfuckers are just as corrupt as everyone else, and they're selling you out, and they sold you out. Which is why your life got worse under Barack Obama, not better. Obama's first Securities Exchange Commission chair, Mary Shapiro, has also found her way into Wall Street's good graces. She now advises financial firms with the consulting firm Promontory Financial Group and serves on the board of Morgan Stanley. His first Securities Exchange Commission chair is now on the board of Morgan Stanley. So you're supposed to be regulating them, but you really want a job from them. So you don't really regulate them. But Morgan Stanley is an investment banking behemoth that has settled 24 separate allegations of misconduct with the federal government since her departure from the SEC. This includes a multi-billion-dollar case for defrauding investors with toxic securities during the financial crisis. So you remember how people said how horrible it was, Trump and Trump University, which it was. That he defrauded these poor schmucks who thought they were going to go to a real university and learn tools to get ahead in real estate. And he defrauded them. That's what bankers do. They defraud the people who give them their fucking money, just like Trump did. And now Obama's people are defending these pieces of it. It's a big club and you ain't in it. Former Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner, this is my favorite. Boo! He is now president of a private equity firm called Warburg Pincus, which owns Mariner Finance, an installment lender that targets poor families with high-interest loans. So Timothy Geithner, the fucking piece of shit that he is, and he is, Jimmy, that's kind of strong. That seems over the top rhetoric. Timothy Geithner, Secretary of the Treasury, is a piece of shit? Yes. He inflicted pain on 5.1 million families. What kind of pain? He made them homeless. And who did he do it for? The banks, so the banks could make more money. That was their plan, as was revealed by Dave Dayen's reporting. That wasn't a bug that they kicked 5.1 million families out of their homes. That was their feature. That was their plan to do that. Not to help them, to fuck them. And they did it. That's who Timothy Geithner is. And now he's the president of a company that preys on the most vulnerable in our society. He makes millions of dollars preying on poor people. Like, what do you mean, Jimmy? Well, for instance, a devastating Washington Post story published last week detailed the case of one Mariner customer who borrowed $2,000 from the firm, only to find himself owing $3,200 in less than a year, even after making a few payments on the loan. Mariner initially got in touch with the man by mailing him a check for $1,200 out of the blue, labeled as a loan with a 33% interest rate. What fucking predatory pieces of shit Timothy Geithner is. Wow.
And he will never go to prison.
Ever.
None of these white-collar criminals.
But Trump's the real piece of garbage.
Oh, yeah.
Trump's a piece of garbage, not Timothy Geithner and all these pieces of shit. Ex-White House Chief of Staff Pete Rose is now chair of the Public and Strategic Affairs Group at the law firm Perkins Coie, where he, quote, provides policy analysis and offers strategic advice on navigating Congress and the executive branch, and counsels senior-level executives on federal and state policy issues and related public communication charges. So that's former ex-White House Chief of Staff. What he's doing now, that activity is known to the general public as lobbying. So he went right from the chief of staff of the White House to a fucking lobbyist. And then there's Carney. Prior to Trump's election, perhaps no American in the 21st century had displayed greater ingenuity when attempting to discredit legitimate journalism than the former White House spokesperson. So now, everybody's acting like Trump invented discrediting journalists, when the Barack Obama White House prosecuted journalists using the Espionage Act, and James Carney did what they're about to tell you he did. He tried to discredit journalism. Prior to Trump's election, perhaps no American in the 21st century had displayed greater ingenuity when attempting to discredit legitimate journalism than Barack Obama's former White House spokesperson. But lying just started with the Trump, right? Everybody was great. I just wish we had Barack Obama back with his brand of fucking criminals. Carney worked for Time magazine as a political editor before joining the White House, and he joined Amazon as a senior vice president in March 2015. After leaving the administration in the summer of 2014. When the New York Times ran a story detailing a host of problems with Amazon's harsh workplace culture, Carney authored a lengthy reply on Medium, publicly challenging the company employees quoted in the story. So the Times does a story, quotes the employees at Amazon, and then asshole Carney writes a piece discrediting those employees. And why Amazon thought this would contribute to an image as a supportive employer was not clear. And Carney also accused the New York Times of journalistic malpractice.
What did he say to discredit the employees? Like, they didn't actually have to pee in bottles. It was more of a jug.
Yeah,
it's not true.
Read Carney. So this is what the author of this piece says. Go read Carney's piece. And ask yourself if the final paragraph doesn't read like a memo from Sarah Huckabee Sanders. It's a masterpiece of innuendo and half-truth, of molehills presented as mountains and unsubstantiated accusations. So we'll end it there. Those are the criminals who were in Barack Obama's White House. That's the swamp. Eric Holder is the swamp. Barack Obama is the swamp. Jay Carney is the swamp. These people are the fucking dregs, and they're screwing you to become millionaires. It's a big capitalistic gangbang, and you ain't in it. But they want you to think it's just Trump. The system was fine before Trump. Trump happened because we don't know why. This is why Trump happened. Because all these people in Barack Obama's administration are working fucking against you, including Barack Obama. Dude, that sounds over the top. It's not over the top. It's a fact. It's why you don't have the public option. It's why you don't have fucking Medicare for all. It's why we don't have a functioning financial sector. It's why we pay twice as much for healthcare as the rest of the world, because they're all corrupt.
Can I add one thing?
Yes.
It's why half the country doesn't vote.
It's why half the country doesn't vote. You want to know why half the country doesn't vote and you have to bitch about people getting 1,000 votes for a third party? This is why half the country doesn't vote. Deborah Messing, Chris Hayes, Rachel fucking Maddow, you worthless sack. She's not worthless. She's very valuable to the establishment. She's very valuable. That's why they pay Rachel Maddow $30,000 a day, which is what they pay her. To fucking lie to you. And she does. So, there you go. That's a great job, by the way, by Zach Carter. And who was the other gentleman who wrote this? Zach Carter and Paul Blumenthal. Great job. It was really great stuff. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you're subscribed. Even if you think you are, you're probably not. It only takes a second to check. And then you have to ring that bell so they send you a notification when we drop a new video. Otherwise, they won't tell you when we drop new videos. And if you like our show, please help support it. Become a patron. We give you hours of bonus material every week, and we give a live stream. We do a live stream every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific time when you can ask us questions and we answer them back. Thanks for your support.